Hey, what's good, y'all? Fusion, Vegas, Smurfy. We're back. We got a conversation for you guys. We're talking about like running backs not getting paid. What's going on?
No, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, can someone tell me what is actually like what's going on with this?
So basically, it's kind of important to have context behind it, but basically, so essentially, quarterbacks aren't getting paid; they're getting less and less money statistically over time. Outside of like the 2% of backs, which is like three running backs right now, their average salary is decreasing, while other position groups have all increased. Um, I think it's been like the last 5 years. That's what the stat was. But so you've all these star running backs right now are trying to get their next contracts, but these teams are basically franchise tagging them and trying to not guarantee not get them extended essentially because they don't want to pay extra money for a back that they think they can get. Not that they think they're replaceable essentially. Probably the best way to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the running back position has, over time, has becoming more and more like not as important. And what Smurfy said was right, is that it's becoming less and less like it's more a replaceable role because football is becoming more of like a quarterback, wide receiver type role in terms of like passing the ball. So the reason why the issue is kind of like big is because like well-known running backs who have been having good years are still like not getting paid as much as like I guess backup QBs. So like you could say like Austin Eckler for the Chargers. He wanted he was looking around trying to see if he could get a different contract with a different team, but no one was willing to accept him because he was asking for too much money. And other positions like Jonathan Taylor today, asking for a trade. Other well-known running backs are also like trying to find another team to look at, even though they were having a good year. I forgot what's the running back's name for the Raiders again?
Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs. He was having a good year as well, and all of a sudden he's now not even showing up to like training camp for the Raiders. So like personally, how I feel in terms of like if this is like the right thing, and I mean, I understand like the team's like position because it's like, listen, if we're trying to win, like if our main goal is just trying to get this team to the Super Bowl, we need to be able to maximize the positions who we think are the best, and running back position just is not considered as the best because it's replaceable. It's not that hard in terms of being able to set up blocks and making sure that the running backs have a running lane. So the teams are feeling like they could just replace that running back with someone else, and if they can like basically cheat their way into like paying running backs less, then I can see why NFL teams are doing it. I can also see why running backs are like complaining as well, but I see this as a fight that they can't really win because as long as the sport is the way it is and it's centered around quarterbacks and wide receivers, then I think the same issue is going to either come up again later down, or running backs are just kind of have to accept getting paid less, unless I guess they want to try to move around into like different positions, but I doubt that will happen either.
Hmm. So who do you blame for
I,
this?
Who do I blame? I
Yep.
kind of don't blame anyone. I think it's just how the NFL has like evolved over time. Like quarterbacks are just getting better, and teams are trying to utilize those quarterbacks, and the way for you to utilize those quarterbacks is by getting better receivers and having them throw the ball. So if you get more and more teams or more quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, why would you need to run the ball when you could have the quarterback run the ball and throw the ball at the same time? You have
Hmm.
Lamar Jackson able to do that. So you got Lamar, you got Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. You have these like double threat quarterbacks who can just run the ball and then also throw the ball at the same time. So as long as we keep getting these like elite QBs, then the running backs are still going to be running into the same issue. And that's how I see it. I want to say this. I find it very funny though that Christian McCaffrey is the only one who hasn't been mentioned in like this whole like issue, because he's considered the best so far. So every other running back is running into issues in terms of like pay, but Christian McCaffrey is still like chilling.
I will say that McCaffrey also makes like 18 mil per year, which is the highest in the league. So, and then I was gonna say, like, I don't really have blame either for the situation, but I do blame owners for not trying to trade their backs that might find teams that would actually maybe pay them those amounts. Because with Eckler, and then probably now with Jonathan Taylor, they're gonna ask for way too much for those backs. Even though they don't want to pay them, they want multiple high round picks to essentially trade for that player. Because as for Eckler, it's feeling they're going to take early first day picks to get him. And then same thing now probably would be with Jonathan Taylor. It's like the rumor they want essentially a high early pick, which essentially they don't want, no team wants to pay that kind of value for, again, the running back position. So it's a mixture, I think, of owners wanting to take advantage of a low price point with running backs, and the reasoning of them like they have such a short prime that's why they essentially can waste almost 7 years of a running back's like play in their rookie contract. So, like, other teams have, like, most other positions get multiple contracts. Running backs, they get the 3 years, and usually that fourth year is when they talk about the extension and they extend, like you saw with Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. They're all, Herbert, and then Burrow will soon follow. They got paid, they're already set. But then with the running backs, but they can essentially, if they don't want it, so let's say in this fourth year they're looking to get an extension, but the running back doesn't like the money they're offering, they might prefer to do an extension for that running back. But what's happening is they say what they can do is they can do a franchise tag and force them to play under that franchise tag, which is basically saying you still have to play for us for a year. We still have your rights for a year.
Yeah.
And then in some cases you can have a second one. So like you race so many other years, like they really have, like, they're not going to see maybe two teams unless they, like AP or a couple of these older running backs that were just journeymen for a couple of years for a cheap value of that.
And the way I see, like, the franchise tag, it's based, when you get franchise tag, it just tells me like teams are not sure about you yet, especially when you're like in a running back position, because the teams are basically saying they're not sure what they're going to pay you, and you still have to prove to us like if you're valuable on the team. So that's the way I see it. And then like I see this tweet about what's been going on with like the running back position during this entire offseason. So it says that Jonathan Taylor requested a trade. He was the running back one for the Colts. Austin Eckler, running back one for the Chargers, requested a trade. Saquon Barkley taking out just a 1-year deal after coming with the Giants after they were just in the playoffs. Josh Jacobs holding out for a deal. So he still doesn't have anything. Tony Pollard on a franchise tag, so they're not sure about him. Dalvin Cook released. Ezekiel Elliott released. Joe Mixon took a pay cut. Aaron Jones took a pay cut. Kareem Hunt unsigned. Leonard Fournette unsigned. And all these running backs are either from playoff teams or they had good years in the past. So it's very clear that teams throughout the entire league are just not valuing this position, and it's a trend that I don't see going anywhere, and it's going to keep getting worse in my opinion.
Okay, how would you fix it? Like, what do you think would be the way to really fix this issue with like the running back pay? Would you, or is there a way to fix it?
So there's two ways that you have to look at this. One is the running back position, the mindset they have to go through, and I guess how teams would have to look at it. If for the running back position, I guess I'm not saying this is possible, but their whole goal is just to try to stay healthy and not get injured. If they can do that, like and still be able to like be effective on the team, then I don't see how they wouldn't they would not get a deal. So, but in terms of like them getting less money, I actually don't know how you fix that. Yeah, I'm not sure how you fix that, honestly.
Okay.
It is maybe could fix the issue. I mean, the money part is it would that should be. I think it would have to do it in the new CBA, but so that probably won't be for a while. But I would read any other. So the way the CBA works is basically it's supposed to include and be equal to all positions, but because of how each position is, the CBA actually messes up running backs because the CBA is more beneficial for people to be able to lock in longer term contracts. But and also but team like positions like quarterback, they can play till like they're 38, 40 in some cases now. Receivers can usually play till 32, 33, but their value, I think even some have played longer than that, and their value has never wavered the older they've gotten. Like I think D Hop got a good contract after being around 30 years old.
Yep.
So, and Michael Thomas is 30. He's playing on a prove it year deal, but he might get paid depending on how this year goes. So if a running back was to make it to 29 and get top money, that would well, I should say reword that. It's never happened. I've never seen a running back get paid a ton of money. Even Adrian Peterson, who's probably the best running back we've seen in our generation, and Marshawn Lynch, they didn't get any crazy money towards their careers, even though they still had the gas in the tank. So it's just one of those things. I just don't. I think it's reducing the contract years for running backs with the new CBA essentially. I think would allow for them to sign with another team that will pay that running back in shorter years, so their prime can stretch out a bit more for contracts. So that way they can still get multiple contracts in their career instead of maybe one or two, maybe like a very short-term deal in the second one. But essentially, their whole career is under one contract, their rookie contract. So if we can maybe reduce that and they can do multiple, just like other position groups have the opportunity to do so, it might balance it out, even though they will still probably fall off as they get older, but it would allow for them to make more money potentially.
Okay. Well, do you guys have anything else in closing, or are you guys done with whatever you gotta say about that? Because I don't really know much about football as it is, and I also feel like I just don't know much about that either. I feel like if you I think that the running back like position is outdated. I think that there's low really like return on a running back. Like you got what 3-4 strong years, maybe 5 on some, and then
Right.
like the tire tread on them after they do run and have to run constantly, that can get to them. So I just think that the position itself isn't warranting enough money. So I don't think there's really anything that we can do about it, except if we do find some sort of running back that can change like the game in some way. I don't know how, but I think that would be like the only way.
Yeah, the only way like I see like the running back position coming, like because teams, the way they see it is like if they're not getting any like running game from like their team or like from their running back, they kind of just focus on upgrading their line. And yeah, they don't like upgrade the running back, they just upgrade the line. So
Yeah.
the way I see it, if teams do draft a running back, they're just trying to get like that someone who's able to like who has good speed, who is able to just run around everybody. And once you get too old, you don't have that speed anymore, and teams are like, all right, time to look for another one.
Okay.
So it's very quick, and teams are realizing it. So they're like, all right, we're not going to waste money on you because it's not that hard. It's like, I'm going to put you on a contract for you to potentially get better or potentially like stay at the level that you're at, but no, you're getting older, you're slowing down, your moves are just not as crisp anymore. So they're like, all right, I'll just get another younger guy who can probably do the same thing that you're trying to do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just have like another wide receiver play that position and just be a little dump pass. Like that just be a third wide receiver.
Oh yeah, that not only that, like teams who don't have any running game, they're like, all right, we can't run the ball. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna do quick slants, just slants all day.
Slant.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much everything. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next video. Peace.